Hello and welcome to the Change Gang podcast with me, your host, Laura Ordile. I'm here to help you hold on to your sanity and your soul as you move through big change. I'm here to guide you from frustration to flow in your life, bridging the practical and the woo, just for you. Let's go. To the Week Change Gang. I'm happy to have Jeffrey Eisen back with me for another wonderful conversation. I think I could talk to you for a very long time, Jeffrey. So thank you again for being here.
My pleasure. I enjoy talking to you as well, and it's so easy. And I believe we ended the last episode with me suggesting that you find your tribe, you find someone to help you through these difficult times of change, and find people that you resonate with, and you can tell. I mean, after this episode, I'm sure Laura and I are going to be good buddies, and so you want to find someone that it's easy to talk to.
That's true. And if you haven't heard the other episode yet, go listen to that. And just as a quick introduction to Jeffrey, for about 50 years, spent his life working and focusing on the very practical side of our world with a multi-million-dollar steel company that he was CEO in, and was focused on that, and decided at that point in his life, just around 50 or right about that it was time to shift and change from just that business world and those profits into taking a different tack, going with people, going with connection, going in that realm of things. And you have explored so much and changed in so many ways and had so many different connections. It's beautiful. So we talked a little bit about that in the first one. I want to dive in a little bit with some of the work that you do. I know you're an energy intuitive and you do some of that, and you talk about connecting to the unseen world. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about that and add in, because I know that you talk as well, and I think this is of interest to everyone. You talk about how manifestation works. So I want to get your view on, and maybe how it's different in your view about that. But let's talk first about connecting to the unseen world. What's that mean for you?
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's an interesting phrase because everybody refers to that which we cannot see, the higher dimensions. I try not to get hung up on the names because that brings me back to that left brain practical side. So I like to leave it as loose as possible, being the invisible or the unseen world, which is everything beyond the physical. One of the books that was part of my learning was a book called The Kabbalion, which is the philosophy of Hermes Trismegistus, who lived around 5,000 years ago, and there's 7 principles. And one of those principles is the principle of vibration, that everything is vibrating. So we on planet Earth are vibrating slower. It's just like ice, and you add energy to that ice and it becomes water. You add energy and heat to that water, it becomes steam. And the steam can be rather invisible. So here we are on planet Earth, and we're sort of the ice, and we want to communicate with the steam. That's all these particles moving around. But one of the other principles in the Kabbalion, and they refer to that higher power, the unseen world, as the all. And I remember the phrase, and it always resonates very strongly in my mind. The all is unknowable and unthinkable. So here we are going to try and connect to this invisible energy, which we will never, ever, ever be able to fully understand. And it's kind of an interesting game, isn't it? Right? It's sort of like, come and connect to us, but you'll never know us. You'll never know how we operate, but we can certainly help you in your journey. So whatever it is I teach, I always like to add the caveat that these are my beliefs, and I highly encourage people to come up with spiritual beliefs that make sense for them, and don't worry about whether other people agree with it, because even the authorities that will tell you what God is are only giving you their best guess, because I truly believe the Kabbalion and Hermes Trismegistus, that the all is unknowable and unthinkable. So any group, any spiritual group, any religion that's telling you this is what that world is, I don't believe is the case. As a matter of fact, Shaltazar has led me to believe that absolute truth only exists in the higher realms. All truth on planet Earth is relative. So I start with that caveat that when I teach connecting to the unseen world, I'm going to teach what works for me, but find your own path. Find what works for you. And so I kind of forget the question, but
That's all right. You answered it, and that's great.
all right, there you go. That's been happening to me a lot lately, because I'm in this process of learning surrender and letting go, and Shaltazar is kind of giving me a hard time. I'll be, partway through a sentence, and it's like, what was the question? And I'm learning to be okay with that part of me.
There you go. And just for those that haven't listened to the other episode, Shaltazar is an energy that you channel, an entity, or however you describe it. Everyone describes it a little bit different who channels, so I don't want to assume.
No, you got it right. Yeah.
But that's where and you talk about sharing that's out there. You have a podcast where you talk about some of those sharings, and the information and the wisdom that's come from your connection with Shaltazar is out there for people to go and connect with and understand if some of it is for them. I'm very much a big thing of kind of putting together my own thing too, because I've been, I guess you could say, a member of a lot of actual religions throughout my life when I was growing up and through my younger years. And over those years, I really discovered the one thing that has come into being, and so much more even now for my life now, is that it's so much simpler than we try to make it. Everything is so much simpler. It's just simpler. It's not meant to be that difficult or that hard or anything. And when someone starts complicating it, it's not really going to probably be the best. It might be the best thing for them. That's what they need to get through, to get to their connection, to get to wherever they are. They need those things in place for whatever reason. But for the most part, if it doesn't feel right and good to you, then don't use it. And that doesn't mean that you can't use it. You don't have to throw everything out. Right. You can use this part of it, that part of it, this part of it. Over the years with the different modalities and the different things that I've connected with, I've taken so many pieces from each of them to really go, oh, I love that. That feels right. I love that thought, that instance, or that way of being. And so I bring that in. And I think that we all need to do that more. I don't think we do it enough.
I agree 100%. And it's interesting that you said that, because my connection to the unseen world, there is such a simplicity, such a perfection. And, I did hear what you say. If you want it complicated, well, go ahead. I would suggest that anybody that makes it more complicated is really slowing down their process, is complicating it. And what I've been realizing lately is that the world seems so complicated, but the spiritual realm seems so simple. And that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, because the higher dimensions, you would think the higher the dimensionality, the more complex. But it's like when I get something, that aha moment, that Satori moment, it just feels so simple. And then you say, okay, well, we talked about it in the last episode. Well, how do you put that into practicality where there are rules and there are governments and there are institutions? And it's like, whoa, how are we going to put that simple truth into play? So I would agree that the complexity is here on earth. The simplicity is in the higher realms. And if you bring your complexity, if you bring that strong left brain logic with you, it will actually prevent you. When I teach that, I teach that I believe there are 5 steps, and I'm not a real big step person in connecting with the unseen world. And the first step is that preparation. The first step is letting go of your left brain. That's where the meditation comes in. You want to get into a place, Shaltazar says, where you quiet your mind and open your heart. And so you want to let go of that complexity so that you can connect to simplicity, but the simplicity is so wise. It's really, and I know you've experienced it, so you know what I'm talking about. It's really hard to describe because it's so simple, but yet so profound, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is. And you mentioned a book a little while ago. I just read a great book that I'm recommending to everybody right now because it is about simplicity, and it's called The Reconnection. I don't know if you've read that by Eric Pearl. So cool. Such a good book. And it is about connecting to the unseen world and the energy that's there. And he talks so much about the simplicity in it. So that's, again, I'll just say it for the people out there. It's The Reconnection. I'll put in the show notes. I'll put a link in there, but it's The Reconnection by Eric Pearl. So amazing. And it's just when you can come to those moments and go, wow, really? It can be that easy? And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I think for so long, it's so much has been told to us about how certain things are supposed to work and be that it can be difficult to accept a whole different thing. Just like I want to kind of dive in for a minute now into that manifestation. When we talk about allowing things into our life, manifesting things into our life, some people make it really hard and difficult, and some people it's super easy for. Some people say, here's the secret, here's this. And for some people it's simply, well, you just simply have to work hard to get what you want in life. And that's how you're always going to get it. I have a little bit different view on that because of the work that I do and around the beliefs that we have and the subconscious and going back to, what's been put into our subconscious and our little operating system, what we're operating off. But I'd like to know your thoughts and your ideas around manifestation.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure we would agree. How I would put it is that there are two parts to manifestation, to all creation. And it's no coincidence it's the feminine and the masculine, right? Because that is how we procreate. That is how we bring forth children. It is the same in the higher realms. Now, it is my belief that in the higher realms, those are both the same, although they're separate. If you can understand that concept that the feminine and the masculine are the same. So when the source creates, it creates the same way. Everything's slowed down on planet Earth. So the source would have a desire, and that desire would instantaneously manifest, but the manifestation of that desire is through a masculine energy. I think what I teach and what I believe is that most of us don't have any problem with the feminine, the yin, the dreaming, the imagining. We kind of get that, right? You get into a place, it's not complicated, it's pretty simple, right? If you're an artist, if you're a creator, like when you get into that creation mode, it's like, oh, I can feel that vacation. I can feel, and so the yin, the dreaming and the imagining is usually fairly light and fluffy. The problem we have, and we talked about it in the prior episode, when we get into the doing, for whatever reason, we were taught that we have to get in there, we have to push, we have to slug. And it is the hard effort, the pushing of the yang that actually slows down manifestation. So if we could learn to do with the same light and fluffy energy that we dream and imagine, then manifestation, miracles would come forth so much easier. And I have been experiencing that lately, which is really kind of amazing, but it is extremely counterintuitive because you have to realize that effort is required, but more inspired effort, more flow doing. And if your doing feels onerous and heavy and have to and need to and should, you are actually slowing down creation. Let me go back to what I said about the Kabbalion and the principle of vibration. Everything is vibration. And when we want something to come forth, we have to be in vibrational alignment with it. And we don't realize that often our doing is at a misalignment vibrationally. We manifest and we have doubts. We manifest and we worry. We manifest and we desire to manifest and we're impatient. Shaltazar has taught me that feelings create, and feelings are an indication of your vibration. The higher and faster, the more pleasant, the more comfortable the feeling, the faster the vibration. The lower and slower, uncomfortable, unpleasant feelings are a lower vibration. So when you want something, are you worried you're not going to get it? Are you doubtful? Are you impatient? Just think about all of the expectation, anticipation. Think about the feelings that you have as you're trying to perform your doing. And if those vibrations are lower and slower, you are actually going to slow down creation. So if you want miracles to happen, it has to come from faith. It has to come from letting go. It has to come from flow doing. The higher and faster the energy of your doing, the sooner and easier you will bring forth manifestation. I've experienced it. Am I an expert at it? No, because I'm human. And it's like, oh, well, I can create this little miracle, right? And it's like, I can wander around a busy parking lot in a shopping mall and get a parking spot real easy, but, well, I don't know if I can get, the big, audacious dream that I want, but it's the same principle. The bigger it is, the more likely you are going to have doubt or apprehensions or impatience. And those things actually slow down manifestation. And so, of course, when the source creates, the vibration is pure, it's all love, and it's instantaneous. The other thing that's important to realize is when you are creating and something comes your way, if you get into, well, I didn't want that, then you're slowing it down. And the example I love to give is that when the source created humans, it, created planet Earth, and instantaneously what shows up on the planet is this big hairy thing that we call an ape. But God's not disappointed. God's not saying, oh my God, I made a mistake. Oh my God, I don't think God would say, oh my God. It simply says, oh, not quite what I had in mind. And it continues to tinker with that creation. And here we are, the human. And thus spirituality and science, evolution are exactly the same. It is that attitude towards your creation. If you panic because it's not exactly what you want, then maybe it wasn't the right vibration you put out. One of the things that I suggest to people when they are looking for manifestation is focus on what you want, not how you think you're going to get it. It's not the car, it's not the house, it's not the job, it's not the vacation. It's how each of those you think will make you feel. So focus on the feeling, and the saying I like to use is give the universe some wiggle room. If it's freedom you want, if it's financial freedom you want, don't say, I want that job because it pays that much, because the universe could have an easier way of bringing you that financial freedom. So, and you can see that question really got me going. I love talking about manifestation. Not that I'm an expert, not that I have perfected it, but I continue to work on it because, of course, we are humans. But try to focus on the feeling that you want and allow that feeling to come to you in other ways than how you think it should come. Shaltazar has led me to believe that how takes your power away. So just focusing on how diminishes your vibration and will actually slow it down. It's like, oh, I want this. I want to get the oracle cards. I want to get the wisdom of Shaltazar oracle cards out there. Oh, okay. Well, let me think. Well, maybe I could do that. Maybe I get on podcasts and tell people about it. The more planning I have, the more I'm slowing down the process. I just have to get into, I don't have to, I choose. And we have to watch our words because I'm a real buggity boo on that. Our language is vibration. So need to, have to, should slows down vibration. So I am choosing to trust. I am choosing to feel the wisdom of Shaltazar oracle cards out into the world, making a difference, helping people. And then I leave it up to the universe to find ways to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's one of the things I always say too, is to leave the how out of it, because universe knows so many more people and ways to connect and create things that we could never have imagined happening. And if you've ever had some of those, I don't know anybody who hasn't says, I don't know how that happened, or the strangest thing, came about, and it's this funny story of how this came to be. That's because the universe did that for you and put it into place for you.
100%. Yesterday, I chatted with a couple of people, I'm putting it out that I would like to be on podcasts, and thank you for inviting me onto yours. And I put it out, and I had a couple of, preliminary calls with two people who said, I don't believe how you just came into my life. I was looking for someone to talk to like you. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. I just want to add, often we don't realize that it is us, our energy, that is slowing down that manifestation process. So it's really, really important, whether it's change you want in your life, whether it's anything that you want to manifest, it's so important to be aware of your energy blocks. So if something is not happening, and taking personal responsibility is really important. It's so easy. I didn't get it because the government, because this institution, because the rules and regulations. Someone used the term the other day, barrier to entry, right? I mean, it's like you don't realize that saying there is a barrier to entry, even though it's very logical, is creating an energy block. So I think one of the important things to consider is, are you blocking what it is that you want? And go within, examine your thoughts, examine your feelings, examine your beliefs, because the universe will bring it to you. And don't do that in a blaming way, saying, oh, terrible Jeffrey, oh, he's just terrible, he blocks everything he wants. Do it from a place of inquisitiveness. It's like, okay, well, if I'm blocking it, that's kind of good news, because it's not someone out there that I can't control. So I'm going to continue to work and see if I can understand what it is I'm doing in my energy vibration that's blocking what I want.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's like all the work that I do. I work with the subconscious, which is the director of all of those things right there that you just talked about. And we often don't know what it is that is, but it's something in our subconscious that's ultimately trying to keep us safe, trying to keep us in a place that it is keeping us alive. And sometimes that's not necessarily to our benefit in the moment. And we need to go in and change some of those things and help that. And I think it's so interesting, because in the way that I do that, I do a lot of hypnosis in what I do. And the way that I describe it kind of goes along with some of the things that you said about it. Does, with so much of the masculine energy being out there and pushing and doing and being in that, it makes it harder for us to get where we want to go. I often tell people, it doesn't have to be climbing and going over the mountain and trying so hard to get to that place that you want to be on the other side. What I do is I actually show you that there's probably a little door right here that goes all the way through a little tunnel under the mountain and over to the other side. Are you still having to do something? Yes, you're still putting energy and work into that, but it's so much easier and so much more complete when you do it that way than trying to force something. And I often get people that say, well, yeah, but look at these people. They had these accomplishments. They're, millionaires. They're doing all this, and they didn't do it that way. And maybe like your previous work was I tell them, yeah, you're right. They didn't, but I can tell you something. It was a grind. It was hard. It was difficult. It probably caused them issues. It was difficult on their mind, their emotion, their bodies. And it took them a good while to do that. And you don't have to go through that process to get what you want.
100%. Yeah. Again, I thought I wanted, financial resources, financial abundance, and I did get it. And that's why I want to reiterate that you want to focus on the feeling, because if I had to do it again, I would want that financial abundance, easy, fun, less onerous, tunneling through the bottom of the mountain. And so you got to focus on all of it, because if you just say you want one thing, the law of cause and effect may give you some side effects that are not very pleasant. And as you were talking, it reminded me, when you're talking about the unconscious, it is important when it comes to manifestation to heal your personal history, because whether we know it or not, and that's part of the setup, we have a personal history that has told us we're not good enough, that has told us we can't get it done. Whatever it is that's in your personal history, you kind of have to, create some amnesia. If you're going to create a new neural pathway, you're going to have to get rid of the other one. You're going to have to clean things out before you can create these new beliefs. So that is another part, one of those energy blocks that you get very frustrated with. You may not realize it's not your fault. It came from your personal history. So healing your personal history. And once again, in the last episode we did, you asked me about my connection to the divine, and was it about healing? And it absolutely was in the beginning, because I had to heal those emotional wounds if I was going to go on and do the things that I am now doing.
Well said. Well said. Thank you for that.
We make a good team. We make a good team, don't we?
We do. I think just being able to talk about all the different ways that it can be seen by people, and different ways to make those connections and to see those things and come into the awareness. However it comes into your awareness is great, because if it's something I said, if it's something you said, Jeffrey, whatever, I don't care, as long as it was the right thing to be said that you needed to hear, for the person that out there that needed to hear it. And that's why I do this. That's why I do this.
We've got the same purpose, and that's to help as many people as we possibly can. And that's why I love connecting with other healers, light workers, people who are wanting to help humanity, because our operating system is very different than what we see out in a lot of the world. And once again, find your tribe, find that healer, find that helper, because it is important. And there are so many beautiful people out there wanting to help others. So
there you go. There you go. All right, Jeffrey, thank you so much for this conversation. Thank you. I appreciate it greatly. I know the people out there listening are appreciating it. And so for those that would like to, tell them how they can connect with you, please. And of course, all the information is going to be in the show notes as well.
Excellent. The easiest way is go to my website, jeffreyeisen.com. On the homepage, really excited about our Wisdom of Shaltazar Oracle cards. There's a nice block where you can click on and get to the landing page. As well, there is a place to book a complimentary discovery call. It's my way of giving back. It's my way of connecting with other people. So by all means, just click on that and you can book a call with me. I am on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And as well, you can find me on Insight Timer. It's a great app. Highly recommended. All of the messages of Shaltazar are there. And if you are going to find me, you will find me. I am out there. I am findable, right?
You're findable. I'm findable. I'm going to tell people that from now on. I'm findable. You can find me.
Yeah, all you got to do is connect into the universe, and now direct it to Laura or me or a gazillion other wonderful light workers that are here to help you. The help is there. It's here in human form. It's here in the invisible world. Don't go alone, because the ride is bumpy, and we're going to get through this, and we're going to make the world a better place.
There you go. There you go. All right, Jeffrey, thank you so much. In Change Gang, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope you got some information, or maybe just a little bit of encouragement to go and do the things that you need to do for yourself, to pull in those little pieces for your life that are important, and then we'll move you where you want to go. Please connect with Jeffrey. Please connect with me. Connect with all the people that you hear and that you feel called to, because they will make a difference in your life. And I hope, my friends, that you go and have a wonderful week ahead, and that you meet me same time right here next week. Ciao. I hope today's episode was interesting to you in some way and fun. If so, hey, find someone to share it with. Maybe they need to hear it too, or maybe they'll just enjoy it. If you'd like, go ahead and grab my tips on supercharging your success. It includes a free short meditation to do just that. You can find that at bit.ly/supercharge your success. Until next time, happy day.